Rachel Thompson adjusted her simple black dress as she entered the elegantly appointed dining room of the Ritz-Carlton, where her stepmother Monica had orchestrated what she called the Thompson family's Easter business reception. At 29, Rachel had grown accustomed to being the odd one out at these carefully curated gatherings, where her preference for substance over small talk was consistently interpreted as social inadequacy rather than professional focus. The guest list represented Monica's vision of sophisticated networking, a mixture of her real estate colleagues, her husband's medical practice associates, and various country club acquaintances who formed what she considered the city's business elite. Rachel's father, Dr. William Thompson, had embraced Monica's social ambitions with enthusiasm, viewing these events as opportunities to elevate the family's standing within their affluent suburban community. "Rachel, sweetheart, try to mingle more naturally tonight," Monica whispered as guests began arriving. "I know social situations can be challenging for you, but this crowd includes some very influential people. Maybe observe how your sister engages with potential business contacts. Jessica has such a gift for making connections." Jessica, Monica's daughter from her previous marriage, had indeed mastered the art of cocktail party networking that their parents valued above all other professional skills. At 26, she worked as a marketing coordinator for a mid-sized insurance company, but her ability to charm potential clients and remember personal details about prospects had made her Monica's designated family success story in social business development. The family's assessment of Rachel's social limitations had been reinforced through years of gatherings where her thoughtful questions and preference for in-depth conversations were overshadowed by Jessica's effervescent charm and superficial networking prowess. While Jessica collected business cards and made plans for future lunches, Rachel typically found herself in corner conversations with one or two people, discussing topics that Monica considered too serious for proper social events. "The problem with Rachel," Dr. Thompson had explained to his golf partners, "is that she's brilliant but completely lacks social intelligence. She can analyze complex problems for hours, but she doesn't understand how to build the kind of relationships that actually advance careers." Jessica grasps instinctively what Rachel has never learned about professional networking. Rachel's career as what the family vaguely understood to be a business consultant had done nothing to challenge their perception of her social inadequacy. They knew she traveled frequently for work and seemed to earn a decent living, but her reluctance to discuss specific clients or projects was interpreted as evidence that her consulting work was either unsuccessful or limited to technical analysis that didn't require sophisticated interpersonal skills. "I worry that Rachel's approach to networking is holding her back professionally," Monica had confided to her book club. "She's so intense in conversations, always asking detailed questions about business operations and strategic planning. Successful networking requires lighter social skills, the ability to make people comfortable and build personal connections rather than conducting job interviews." The Easter reception represented Monica's latest attempt to demonstrate proper social business etiquette for Rachel's benefit. The evening would showcase Jessica's networking abilities while providing Rachel with opportunities to observe and hopefully learn more effective approaches to professional relationship building. The guest list had been specifically chosen to exclude anyone who might appreciate Rachel's analytical conversation style in favor of people who valued Jessica's more conventional social approach. Tonight's crowd includes some very successful business owners and executives, Dr. Thompson had told Rachel during the pre-dinner cocktail hour. "This is your chance to learn how professionals actually build valuable relationships. Watch how Jessica connects with people. She makes networking look effortless because she understands that business success requires social sophistication." Rachel had nodded politely while reviewing emails on her phone, including several urgent messages from her speaking bureau about scheduling conflicts for her upcoming Fortune 500 executive presentations. The irony of receiving networking advice while managing requests from some of the world's largest corporations was not lost on her, but explaining this would have required revealing details about her consulting practice that Rachel preferred to keep confidential. As the reception progressed, the familiar patterns of family social dynamics emerged with predictable clarity. Jessica circulated through the crowd with practiced ease, collecting introductions to Monica's real estate contacts and Dr. Thompson's medical colleagues, while Rachel found herself relegated to polite but peripheral conversations with guests who clearly viewed her as the less socially gifted Thompson daughter. "Jessica has such a natural gift for reading people," Monica announced to a group of her country club friends, apparently forgetting that Rachel was within earshot. She understands instinctively how to make people feel comfortable and valued. Poor Rachel tries so hard, but she just doesn't have that social intuition that makes networking successful. Dr. Thompson joined the conversation with his usual blunt assessment of his daughter's limitations. Rachel's problem is that she approaches every conversation like a business meeting. She asks too many serious questions, wants to discuss strategy and operations when people are trying to relax and socialize. She doesn't understand that successful networking is about building personal connections, not conducting professional interviews. The criticism stung because it misrepresented everything about Rachel's actual professional relationships and communication effectiveness. While Monica's real estate networking involved superficial small talk and Jessica's insurance marketing relied on charm-based client acquisition, Rachel's consulting work required her to facilitate strategic discussions between CEOs, analyze complex organizational challenges, and present findings to boards of directors who valued analytical rigor over social pleasantries. "I've tried to help Rachel understand proper networking etiquette," Monica continued to her attentive audience. "But she seems more interested in analyzing people's business models than building genuine relationships. That's not how successful professionals operate. You need to make people like you before you can earn their trust or influence their decisions." Jessica demonstrated Monica's preferred networking approach by seamlessly transitioning from conversation to conversation, each interaction characterized by enthusiastic personal interest, flattering questions about the other person's achievements, and smooth transitions to potential business opportunities. Her performance was genuinely impressive within the specific context of suburban cocktail party networking, but it bore no resemblance to the strategic communication required for Rachel's Fortune 500 consulting practice. "The difference between Jessica and Rachel," Dr. Thompson explained to his medical practice partner, "is that Jessica understands that people buy from people they like, while Rachel seems to think that technical expertise alone is sufficient for business success. In our experience, social skills matter more than analytical capabilities when it comes to building lasting professional relationships." Rachel's phone buzzed with another message from her speaking bureau, this time confirming her keynote presentation for next month's Global CEO Summit, where she would address organizational transformation strategies for an audience of Fortune 500 executives. The timing was particularly ironic given her father's lecture about the importance of people skills in professional advancement. The family's concern about Rachel's networking limitations had reached new heights as Jessica's insurance marketing career generated increasingly visible success within their local business community. Jessica's client acquisition strategies had earned recognition from her company's regional management, while Rachel's reluctance to discuss her consulting work was interpreted as evidence that her career lacked the interpersonal achievements that characterized Jessica's approach to professional development. "What Rachel needs to understand," Monica had told her sister privately, "is that business success requires more than just being smart. You need to be likable, approachable, someone that clients want to work with repeatedly." Jessica has mastered these social skills, but Rachel still thinks that analytical competence is enough to build a successful consulting practice. The evening's accumulating social comparisons created the familiar pattern Rachel recognized from family gatherings throughout her adult life. Jessica would be celebrated for meeting conventional expectations about networking effectiveness, while Rachel's alternative approach to professional relationships would be treated as evidence of social limitations that hindered her career advancement. At exactly 7:45, as the family prepared to transition from cocktails to dinner, Monica's phone buzzed with a Google alert notification that would forever change their understanding of professional achievement and social influence. The Forbes magazine website had just published their annual Top 40 Under 40 Business Consultants list, and Rachel Thompson was featured as the cover story under the headline, "The CEO Whisperer: How One Consultant Transformed Fortune 500 Leadership." Monica stared at her phone screen in bewildered silence as the article detailed Rachel's extraordinary influence within the highest levels of corporate America. The consulting practice the family had dismissed as technically focused analytical work was revealed as strategic leadership development for executives managing companies worth hundreds of billions of dollars. Rachel Thompson's client list reads like the Fortune 500 directory, the Forbes profile began. In 5 years she has advised CEOs of 17 major corporations, facilitated leadership transitions for companies with combined revenues exceeding $800 billion, and developed organizational transformation strategies that have been implemented across industries ranging from technology to pharmaceuticals to aerospace. Dr. Thompson read over Monica's shoulder as the article continued. Thompson's approach to executive consulting combines analytical rigor with extraordinary emotional intelligence, enabling her to facilitate difficult strategic conversations between board members, mediate leadership conflicts at the highest corporate levels, and design organizational structures that optimize both performance and executive satisfaction. Jessica's confident networking suddenly seemed trivial as the Forbes piece detailed Rachel's recent achievements. This year alone, Thompson has delivered keynote presentations to CEO summits in Geneva, Singapore, and New York, while her strategic recommendations have influenced corporate policies affecting more than 2 million employees worldwide. The article's description of Rachel's communication methodology directly contradicted everything the family believed about her social limitations. Thompson's clients consistently praise her ability to build trust rapidly with senior executives, facilitate productive discussions between conflicting stakeholders, and present complex strategic recommendations in ways that inspire immediate organizational action. Monica scrolled through additional details about Rachel's professional influence with growing horror. The Forbes profile included testimonials from CEOs whose companies the family recognized as global industry leaders, each describing Rachel's exceptional interpersonal skills and strategic communication abilities. Working with Rachel Thompson transformed our entire approach to executive decision-making, explained the CEO of a major aerospace corporation. Her ability to read organizational dynamics and facilitate authentic dialogue between leadership teams is unmatched in the consulting industry. Dr. Thompson's face went ashen as he processed additional quotes from Fortune 500 executives. Rachel's strategic insight is remarkable, but what sets her apart is her emotional intelligence and communication skills. She can navigate complex political situations within large corporations with extraordinary sophistication. The Forbes Profiles publication transformed the Easter reception into an elaborate monument to the family's spectacular misunderstanding of professional achievement and social competence. Monica's carefully curated networking event was revealed as amateur-hour suburbanite socializing compared to Rachel's influence within the highest levels of global corporate leadership. The guests who had been patronizingly patient with Rachel's intense conversations learned that her analytical questions and strategic focus represented communication skills that commanded six-figure consulting fees from the world's largest corporations. Her preference for in-depth discussion over cocktail party small talk was exposed as the professional methodology that had earned her recognition as one of the most influential business consultants of her generation. Within hours, Monica's country club friends began asking uncomfortable questions about how the family had failed to recognize, indeed had actively dismissed, someone whose professional achievements exceeded anything in their extended social network. Dr. Thompson's lectures about networking effectiveness became embarrassing reminders of his complete ignorance about his daughter's extraordinary success in building relationships with Fortune 500 executives. Jessica's insurance marketing accomplishments, while respectable, were revealed as entry-level professional networking compared to Rachel's strategic facilitation of leadership decisions affecting billions in corporate revenue. The family's preferred networking approach, charm-based relationship building, was exposed as fundamentally inadequate for the sophisticated stakeholder management that characterized Rachel's consulting practice. The family's social dynamics collapsed entirely as relatives processed Rachel's actual professional standing and client influence. Monica's networking advice had been directed at someone whose communication skills were valued by CEOs managing companies with larger budgets than their entire state government, while her social coaching had been comprehensively irrelevant to executive-level strategic consulting. Rachel maintained her characteristic discretion about client relationships and project details, continuing her Fortune 500 consulting practice while the family adjusted to the reality that their networking expertise had been laughably inadequate compared to her professional achievements. She never addressed their years of social coaching or their spectacular misunderstanding of interpersonal effectiveness at the executive level. The Easter reception became a permanent reminder that their understanding of professional networking had systematically undervalued the most accomplished family member, someone whose social and strategic communication skills influenced corporate leadership decisions while they practiced suburban cocktail party etiquette. Rachel never corrected their assumptions about her social limitations or gloated about their comprehensive misjudgment of her professional capabilities. She simply continued facilitating strategic discussions between Fortune 500 executives while they grappled with the revelation that their networking advice had been directed at someone whose interpersonal influence exceeded their collective professional achievements by several orders of magnitude.